Alex, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mark.
Well, mate, what we saw on Saturday was just simply reprehensible.
Yeah, look, it was disgusting, and it's difficult to be shocked after everything that we've seen in our country for the past 2 years, beginning on October 7 and with the street protests and support for terrorism and firebombings. But when you see people in uniform professing neo-Nazi views, and you know, it's easy to kind of gloss over it because the word Nazi is thrown around at anyone that doesn't agree with one's views these days. But these people are genuine Nazis. You look at what they're actually calling for. They want to see race war. They want to see racial hierarchies. They want to see the annihilation of people and the deportation of people based on their ethnicity. They want to see the overthrow of our democracy. These are people who look at what happened in the 1940s and 30s in Europe. I'm not talking merely about the Holocaust. I'm talking about the destruction of the European continent. Whole countries fell. 40 million people were killed. Germany was left devastated and humiliated. And they look at that and go, we want to bring a bit of that to Australia. These people are the lowest of the low, and they're so stupid that they don't realize that they live in the luckiest, in the greatest country in the world, and they want to overhaul and overthrow everything that makes this country great.
What I cannot wrap my head around, Alex, and I'll ask you whether you're the same, is that for these protest groups to be given the green light, they need to fill in what's called a Form 1. And in my discussions with some high-ranking police officers over the course of the weekend, on that Form 1, you need to detail how many people will turn up, what the protest is actually for. And given what we have been through, especially your community, since October 7 of 2023, how someone in New South Wales Police didn't think to say to the Police Commissioner and or the New South Wales Police Minister, Yasmin Catley, look, this is going to be a bad look. I think we need to escalate this. That is something I just cannot wrap my head around. Are you the same?
Look, it's a hell of a failing. There's no way to gloss over it. And the fact that the Police Commissioner didn't know about it until after it occurred, and the fact that people were able to assemble, Nazis were able to assemble outside our parliament without the highest levels of government and the police being aware and being able to either stop it or put in place measures to contain it, that's a big failing. But I want to give them benefit of the doubt here because I know the police for the last 2 years have had a really tough time of things. They've had professional protesters week in, week out, pulling away police resources, diverting their eye from real crime. And mistakes are going to happen in that context. They're overworked, they're stretched, they're overwhelmingly made up of very good, decent people who hate this sort of filth and want to keep Australians safe. But, you know, we await the investigation and the explanation from the Commissioner and from the government because this sort of thing can't be allowed to happen again. And,
Alex, let's make this clear. I mean, I'm sick to death of hearing people say, oh, it's free speech. No, it's not free speech, is it, Alex? It's hate speech. It's clearly hate speech, and it's, yet again, more anti-Semitic attacks being levelled at the Jewish community here in this country.
We're all in favour of free speech. You and I are exercising it right now, the ability to step into the public domain, express one's views, do battle with ideas. That's what this country is all about. Nazism is not what this country is about. Standing in front of our parliament in uniform, chanting neo-Nazi slogans and the slogans of the Hitler Youth, that's not free speech. That's antithetical to what this country is all about, what the diggers fought for. Our country has a proud record of always standing up to tyranny, beginning with a Nazi filth like this. And if they want to invoke freedom of speech, they're supporting the overthrow of democracy. Freedom of speech is a centerpiece of that democracy. That's not what they support. So I think we need to be clear-minded about this and draw a line between free speech and hate speech, and this is certainly the latter.
There's calls for tougher laws. We obviously and clearly need them. Having said that, Alex, I'm still waiting on a response from the government here in New South Wales in relation to a recent decision from the Supreme Court that allows protesters to demonstrate outside synagogues. And it yet again raises the question, is the government intent on protecting the Jewish community in particular, or groups within our community, or are they still going to allow this free-for-all to continue?
I think we need to recognise that our country has manifestly changed in the last 2 years, and the sorts of things that we thought couldn't happen, whether it be the Iranian regime orchestrating terror attacks on our soil, or groups wanting to protest outside places of worship, that was never an issue. These are very real issues now, and we need to ensure that police powers and the laws keep up with the threats that we're facing today. But I think the critical thing is political will. When the political will is there, and I believe it's there from the Premier, then he can sit down with his team, with his advisors, with the police, with the Department of Public Prosecutions, and work out the right setting. People don't want to see needless new laws added to the books. It's complicated. You don't know how they're going to be implemented until they're tested in courts. But at the moment, it seems like what we have in place isn't adapted properly to the threat that we're facing now as a society.
Well said. Alex, thanks for joining us, mate, and let's hope that we can force these politicians to do what's right. And listening to what the Premier had to say over the course of the weekend, he was fairly disgusted at what was allowed to transpire outside Parliament House on Macquarie Street. Thanks for your time as always, mate. We'll catch up soon.